So, hey, this week in trading history, I'm actually very, very happy to be talking about this one. I was waiting for this one. This has been circled in my calendar for a couple months now. And let's talk Guinness. I mean, we love our beer on this show, right, Kev?
For sure.
And so I thought this was just a great tribute to pay. Now, when I started reading this, I was like shocked. Actually, I didn't realize the rich history of this company. So originally, Arthur Guinness started a company called St. James Gate Brewery back in Ireland in 1759. And then it was by 1838, the company uh, proceeded to become the largest brewery in Ireland. And I'm not actually sure when they changed their name to Guinness from St. James, but it was later on in 1886. 1886, just to put it in context, 10 years before even General Electric was listed, right?
Wow. That's
1886,
yeah.
it IPO'd.
Yeah.
It was the world's largest brewery back then.
Wow.
It basically soared from 350,000 barrels of beer to by 1868, 779 barrels, and then by 1886, when it was IPOing, they were brewing almost 1.2 million barrels of beer a year.
Wow.
Like it was incredible. And so the IPO of Guinness was Arthur Guinness's grandson Edward said he wanted out, and he sold his 65% stake in the company in an initial public offering for £6 million, which the equivalent of, let's say, I think today's value is about $321 billion in today's dollars,
Wow.
right? And
Like that's unbelievable.
that's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
And so on its opening IPO date back then, it soared 60%,
Oh.
like if it was a tech stock, right?
That guy
The
that's
little unicorn,
complaining, that tech guy from the tech
the
VC
WeWork
that's
guy.
going around complaining about all the opening prices and all the value lost the companies aren't achieving, he would have been really pissed at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he would have been pissed. What's interesting is that a couple of interesting notes. Like one, the brewery refused to advertise or offer their beer at a discount. So they became the largest brewer in spite of never discounting and rarely advertising. So
They
it's
were
just
the
quality.
apple of their day.
Yeah. And they owned no public houses because a lot of the breweries in England would own the public houses to make sure that they had the control of the supply chain. The company at the time was like 20 times oversubscribed when
Wow.
it made that 60% run. So it
Wow.
was pretty cool. But a couple little interesting little tidbits of history following that. So in 1986, exactly 100 years later, they tried to acquire Distillers Company, or they did, and it led to a scandal and a criminal trial, basically suggesting that the share price of Guinness was engineered higher by the chairman for the takeover bid. And they had there's some sort of lawsuit for like 5.2 million pounds or something like that that happened, and eventually about 11 years later in 1997 it merged with Grand Metropolitan to form Diageo, which is the company we know today as in which Guinness is thing, but Guinness from 1886 was a publicly traded company. I didn't know that until I read this. It's a
That,
pretty interesting story, isn't it?
For sure. I have a couple of Guinness stories to tell, just quickly.
Yeah.
First of all, when I was in Ireland, I took the family there. And when you take, you're in Ireland, they let everybody drink. So I was up at the top after the whole tour of the place. I think my son was 8 or 7, and I'm proud to say, had his first beer, which was a Guinness.
Nice.
He said he was disgusting, and I said, it's your first beer, but it's probably not going to be your last. And then the other thing is we went to Galway, and then north of Galway, there's a place called Ashford Castle. And Ashford Castle was actually one of the homes of the Guinness family. And it's Patrick, it's awesome. It's basically my wife and I, we had such a great time there. You feel like you're in Downton Abbey. You can walk to the town. It's just unbelievably nice. I think it was rated one of the top hotels in the world. That we were there before it was renovated. So when I could still afford to go there, we probably can't anymore. We went, listen to this, we went falconing.
Really?
Like, I shit you not. We took the kids out. We all got a hawk on our arm, and we went out and went falconing. How strange is that?
That is pretty cool. So what does that involve? What is this bird like? What do you do with the birds?
You put the bird on your thing, and then you just send them off into the forest, and then you put it back where you get a little piece of meat, and he comes back. It's not like really.
It wasn't going hunting or anything.
No, we didn't actually use him to go hunting. We just flew him around.
That's pretty cool.
But the cool thing about the story is that the Ashford Castle was owned by the Guinness family, and then. I think they inherited in 1868 or some crazy number. Like, they'd owned it for a long time. And then what happened was World War II came, and guess what they did? They pitched it.
Really?
They panicked. They sold it.
Wow.
I think they sold it for almost like nothing. They thought that it wasn't gonna, either they were worried about the war or whatever it was. But it's, we have a place in Toronto that was also, it's Castle Loma. It's the same story. It was built right before the Great Depression, and the owner just gave it back to the city. And this was almost the same story, I believe.
Wow.
Anyways, Google it. Ashford Castle, great place. Patrick, thanks for the story.
Yeah.
Guinness, thanks for the beer.
Yeah, no, this is a delicious beer to have for the show this week.